Hold on. Okay.
All right, good. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. My name's Randy Ford. I'm one of the on the board of the chambers and one of the executive chair overseeing the public policy area. And I'm joined today by two of my very able public policy members, Mark Solomon and John Hurst. And Liz Morris is the third person, and she had a Richardson School Board event that she had to attend, so she won't be with us. And I will we'll get us started, and I'll be kicking it over to Mark Solomon to kind of moderate a panel with our guests. We're delighted today to have certainly two people who are no strangers to the Richardson Chamber, and we're very thankful for the time that we can always get with them. And no schedules are busy, and particularly Representative Leach, I know you're on a tight window here, so we're gonna go to you first. But just quick introductions. Angie Chen Button represents District 112, which is a large part of Garland and Richardson, and both the representative districts are going to be changing here. We can talk about that a little bit later. She's also the chairman of the International Relations and Economic Development and a member of the Ways and Means Committee. And Representative Leach, also chairman, chairs the Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence, and has been involved with that, I know, for a long time. And so two very important committees that have a lot of work that has to do with the Richardson business community. So again, thank you for both of you joining. And Representative Leach, we will start with you. You're down in Austin today, understand?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, hear you loud and clear. Great. Well, okay. I will turn the program over to Mark Solomon, and we'll get started.
Well, Mr. Chairman, good to have you with us today, and always good to see you, and welcome. We'll let you start off with telling us what you're up to and what's happening within your district and what's happening statewide today.
Well, Mark, I can see you, and I trust that you can hear me. If you can't, just wave at me, and I hope you can see me as well. Mark, I'm just staring right at you right now, so don't make any funny faces. And of course, it's great to be with my friends from the Richardson Chamber, and always wonderful to share the stage, or the Zoom stage, I should say, with my colleague and Madam Chair Button. Great to see you. And I would never, we have done many of these together over the years, and this is the first time, and I promise you it will be the last time that I ever go before Angie Chen Button. I'm actually, you'll be glad to know this, Madam Chair, and those of you on the call, I think, would like to know this as well. I'm in Austin today, actually, just right outside the Capitol, overlooking downtown Austin here with the Texas Association of Realtors. Today is Leslie Ruta Smith Day. Leslie is from Collin County. She's a realtor in the Dallas area, lives in Plano. And Leslie is the 2022 National Association of Realtors president, only the third one in the history of the state of Texas. I believe the first woman president from the state of Texas to serve in that role. And so I'm down here honoring her today. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to just briefly address you. And then I'm going to go present her with her proclamation and then try to hop right back to you for question and answers. But Madam Chair Button will do an incredible job of covering anything that I don't. I'm going to keep these remarks very brief and to the point. I'm in my fifth term, running for my sixth term as state representative from House District 67, which right now and over the past 10 years has consisted of a good portion of the city of Richardson. Unfortunately, because of redistricting, after redistricting, I'll no longer have the opportunity to represent Richardson in the Texas House. But even that said, I want you to know, if there's one thing that I want you to remember from my remarks today is that I will continue to be a friend and an advocate and a champion and ambassador for the city of Richardson and the citizens of Richardson. Even though I formally won't represent Richardson in the House, you can always, and I hope you will always, come to me, continue to partner together, not only serving the city and UTD, but our entire region. So thank you for just all that y'all have done to help me over the years do my job to serve you in the Texas House. I wouldn't rather be anywhere right now than in the great state of Texas. We have our challenges. We have our challenges, but we have great opportunities. We are doing very well economically. We have made great strides over the years to strengthen and improve public education, to invest in infrastructure, roads and bridges, and our critical infrastructure, namely last session, the reliability of our electric grid in Texas, which performed very, very well during the winter storm just a couple weeks ago. We are doing great, and the governor likes to say, and I like to repeat as well, that if Texas were our own country, which some people on this call maybe sometimes wish we were our own country, but if we were, we would economically be the 9th largest country in the world, larger than the countries of Canada, Australia, and even larger than Russia economically. And so with a $250 approximately billion state budget, a biennial state budget, we take our roles as stewards of the taxpayer dollars very seriously. And next session, I believe, is going to be a nuts and bolts, meat and potatoes session. We're already getting started now, working towards next session, looking forward to next session, making sure that we're doing the things necessary to, and like I said, continue to invest in infrastructure, improve education, make sure our justice system is open and accessible and fair and reliable, do all the things that we need to do to ensure Texas remains strong. And I'll say this in closing. It is not because of, I believe very strongly, and will reiterate to you, it is not because of the politicians that Texas is so strong. You're the boss, not us. We work for you, and the people of Texas are innovative, resilient, strong, and caring and kind, unlike any other state in this country. And so I just want to thank you for everything you're doing to serve our community, to make the city of Richardson and our entire region what I believe to be, very sincerely believe to be, the best place to live anywhere, not only in the state of Texas, but in this country. And so I love you all, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to serve you. I hope to have the opportunity to continue to serve you in the Texas House, and I'm always available, always a phone call away. So Mark, thank you again. And I'll hand it back to you, and then I assume you're going to hand it back to Angie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We appreciate that. Look forward to having you back on with us in a few minutes. So we'll see you then. Representative Button, Madam Chairman, we're glad to have you with us this morning, and we'll let you now introduce what you're going to do in this next session. And Jeff mentioned that y'all are already working, so I assume that you've got some interim charges now from the speaker, and so if you'll bring us up to date on those, I'd appreciate it.
First, let me say Happy Valentine's Day to each of you. For those of you thought because you are tied up in this legislative updates, cannot take your sweetheart out for lunch, please do not use this as an excuse, because I already tell my husband, okay? And I know that my colleague, Representative Leach, might just already left, but I still want to make an official statement how proud I am serving with him. Both Jeff and I were listed, were recognized by the Texas Monthly as top 10 legislators during last year. So you know that you have two powerhouse representing Richardson from this area, and I'm just absolutely appreciating and think about his work ethic. Even because in redistricting, he's no longer, his new district will not cover Richardson, but he still make the very best effort, even calling from Richardson, calling from Austin in order to participate in this very, very important legislative session for the chamber. So once again, it's such a great honor, and I am just so proud to serve with him. And I know I can count on him to support Richardson as well. Okay, then let me thank Randy and all the co-chairs and chamber members and participants. You'll join us for this session, and especially the moderator, my dear friend Mark Solomon. You have done so much. I don't know how many times I tell my husband, Darcy, you know, sometimes he's really what should I call? He's so much involved with what I'm doing. Sometimes he's the one kind of like, you remember the old movie, My Fair Lady? And he thought he was that Professor Higgins, okay? Teaching me everything. But Darcy and I were talking about Mr. Mark Solomon, former council member, is the role model for all the elected officials because he has a heart to serve. He always serves with everything he can offer, and he never take the credit. And Mark, remember that we visited you right before Christmas, and you will be always in my heart, okay? After I make all the statement, of course, the chamber will continue to prosper, and okay, the city, the new city manager, Don, I saw you, one of the participants. I want to appreciate your participation in the meeting of the old friends. You know, I won't say old, a lot of good friends like Debbie and the new friends. Okay, so let me, since Jeff left, so I guess I get to give you the updates and also probably answer many questions. Okay, first, Jeff said a very, very good, he had a very, very good short and sweet summary about, oh, golly, don't you think we're all so happy about the warm and lovely sunny weather instead of the other alternative? And of course, some people say, well, you know, the new great the power system hasn't been really tested because we had a mild winter storm. Let me tell you, we did work very, very hard last session to make a lot of improvement. I'm not going to go through all the details, but although this time it wasn't as serious as in the past, but it could be, and we will continue to work on to make sure that just in case that 100 years a snowstorm comes back again, who knows, you know, and we'll be in a better position. So as Jeff said that last session, we will continue to work on that. So that's a short thing. Another thing I'm very proud of, I want to give you all an update. Although we are kind of eased off from the stressful pandemic situation, but I want you to know we are actually took that lesson seriously. I had a legislative zone meeting update with UT Southwestern. The president, Podolsky, Dr. Podolsky, he presented in person, talk about what UT Southwestern has been doing. The reason I brought it up is especially two major issues, extremely important, and we've been working on that. I'm happy to see that we had made a great progress. First is that during the last session, we were able to set up the UT's School of Public Health for North Texas. Now, you know the impact because we don't want, you know, yeah, if anything comes back again or whatever, in any kind of a scale, it's going to be so scary. So we want to make sure that more people, more doctors and more medical professions will get into the public health area. And so I'm proud to say I'm one of the major legislators behind the effort to make that happen. And the second thing is related to so many people, especially young people, and also the students about the mental situation because of this entire pandemic environment. You know, you read so many statistics about the suicidal rate increase, the drug dosage, all kind of sad things. I'm proud to say that the joint project with the Texas Health and Human Services Commission, UT Southwestern has been tasked with designing, construction, and operating a 200-bed adult psychiatric facility. And as a result of the work, and just through, my husband always tell me, don't throw all the numbers, but I think numbers says a lot too. So during the last year's regular session, we were able to get $45 million for the design, planning, and the land acquisition for this project. And then during the third special code session, we were able to get $238 million out of the one-time federal ARPA funds. And we were going to continue to monitor that and make sure that not only the things were coming the way that as we planned, but we're also ready to, if we can be able to tap on other additional resources, and we need to do that, and that is extremely important. Okay, so let me talk about this. First, since I am the chair of the International Relations and Economic Development, and plus the audience here, you are with our real prestigious Chamber of Commerce, the big richest in Chamber of Commerce. I do want to spend some time to talk more, well, the majority of my time to address the business issues, especially in the economic development. Okay, the first thing came to my mind definitely this shortage, supply chain issues, especially with the semiconductor chips. And I guess you all probably heard about that this and you know, ins and outs due to so many times. But I want to give you a little bit updates and you know, this right now so much spotlight on the shortage of the computer chips, and also extended to the manufacturing side of the U.S. The strategy, which we have been doing for many years, did put us into a very awkward position, except I have to say our proud chamber, Richardson Chamber, you all have been doing the right thing, always emphasize the importance of technology, especially the semiconductor, you know, right in the backyard, everything, you know. So you understand the issues here, but then until last year, a lot of people even in the business development did not realize how important this is, and now everybody realize that. And the semiconductor shortage now affecting a lot of business, even just the daily life. We all know the refrigerator and even the cars, everything. Okay, let me share with you another story of mine. I like to tease my husband a little bit since this is Valentine's Day. Before the Christmas, when the pandemic situation eased up a little bit, and he said, well, Angie, you know, we have 2 cars. One is 15 years old. That's his car. I cannot even roll down the window because you can roll it down, but you're not sure it will come back. And another one is about like 9 years old. That's the one we've been driving back to forth between Dallas and Austin last year at so many mileages. So he said, I would like to buy you a new car as our Christmas gift. I kind of sense that he just said that because he knows that at that time the computer chips is already, you know, in a crisis. But sure enough, he took me to the I'm not gonna mention which car manufacturer, but he took me to the dealer, and we look at the price. He knows I'm always watch every penny and the conclusions. Hey, listen, it's not very smart to buy a car now, okay? But that's just one of the examples. Then I want to keep this presentation just nonpartisan, but the facts about the current inflation rate, 7.5% plus, especially in North Texas, it is really an issue. So the good things, the semiconductor business, they're starting putting more investment. For example, like our backyard Texas Instruments, they've been putting the effort for their new fab, and then also they are building up another fab in the Sherman area. And we have several examples. I'm not gonna nationwide also made a great difference. So I'm not gonna go through the details. Although I was personally disappointed that $17 billion Samsung semiconductor manufacturing facility went to Tyler, East Texas instead of to our area. And we do have a Samsung facility in Richardson area, but we didn't get that fab. So I have to say, I personally, I am a little bit disappointed. I have a lot of statistics here, which I'm not gonna repeat it. So Mark, how's my time slot looks like?
It's getting pretty close. Do you want to go over with us some of the interim charges that the
Yes,
chamber has?
yes, okay, great.
And Chairwoman Button, if I could, just for maybe help everybody on the call here, could you explain just kind of the cadence and the process in the off year when the legislature's not in session, that
Okay.
to the interim charges?
Excellent.
Thank you.
A lot of people thought, well, being a state representative, it's really a part-time job. The part-time job is justified. We only get $600 a month paid, okay? But the reality is it's more than, it's really a full-time job, and including the weekends. I'm not talking about just the campaign. Earlier, Jeff tell you where he came from, whatever. Actually, I was at the early voting site in Richardson and also in the new North Dallas area, which is a part of my new district. And we left the house early in the morning. We're already been to 2 early voting sites. So that burns a lot of energy. But then general elections in November, okay? So right after that, then the new session starts, inaugural ceremony in early January. So for people don't really have that much time to get prepared for the new session, okay? And without the speaker announce who is going to be chair for which sessions, there's a lot of issues there, okay? So with a lot of unknown situation, we still have to be in a good position to prepare what we're going to focus on during the 140 days regular legislative session. Hopefully next year we don't have to go through the 3 special sessions. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So Randy, excellent question. So when we're now in session, we need to work on prepare ourselves to understand what are the issues from the prior session and also the general political and economic and social, whatever business environment, so we can prepare. And that's what we call interim charge, okay? As a chairwoman for the International Relations and Economic Development Committee, I got the honor to prepare a proposal for my interim charges submitted. I already submitted it to the speaker on November the 22nd. but the speaker hasn't announced what's his final decision. So each chairman submitted their proposal, and hopefully the speaker will agree. Usually will agree with most of us, our proposal, especially the one that have excellent record. And I'm proud to say I have excellent record. And Chairman Leach also have excellent record. Okay, so let me briefly talk about my own committee's interim charge. Is that okay, Randy? Okay.
Yes,
I'll
that'd
tell
be
you
great.
what. Yeah, of course. Let's talk first. We want to take a great serious look at the current economic development incentive programs, and also identify the underutilized programs and identify the opportunity to enhance economic development program. Okay, so next topic is extremely important, and I already got a lot of people calling me up asking is how about the 313? Okay, if I confuse you, let me explain that to you. Okay, 313 is the core of the economic development, which will allow the school district that actually is decided by the school board to approve the kind of like what you can say either say abatement or suspension of the school property tax for certain years in order to attract companies coming to that district to develop and create jobs. Okay, so that has been a very, very important economic development tool. Then you say, well, that does it mean that it's going to reduce the funding for the school districts? No, it's not. The reason is the 313 has coded to promise that we will hold the school district harmless, which means whatever the school district's property tax, say they decided to, give a certain company $10 million abatement for certain years, the state will go ahead and reimburse them. So the school district will not have to suffer, okay? But then for the state, it is important because if we have the state wants to make sure that we can attract those companies coming to invest in our district, in our state, in our district. And earlier, the Chairman Leach mentioned Texas is number 9, the largest economic unit or whatever, if you want to treat it as a country like that, okay? And the GDP, in terms of GDP, but that means we'll continue to under the pressure to attract more business coming in to create jobs, because eventually, even you give an abatement, the school property tax abatement, eventually they are going to, run out of the special treatment and generate tax, school property tax. Plus that there are the kind of ripple effect that would generate a lot of tax revenue. Plus that definitely the job creation. Okay, so that like the TI's side in Sherman is the one that won that's before my time, got that 313 help and approved by the Plano School District, and but that one that has been a very powerful tool. But first, that tool has been going on for the renewal for 10 years. Okay, so the deadline for that bill is the expiration date for the the chapter 313 is December 31st of this year. So if we don't do anything, that tool is gonna go away. And my personal position is, yes, I know there are some several issues and concerns about the 313, which I think are real good concerns, okay? Such as in some cases, the companies, they promised to create 1,000 jobs, and I'm just threw out some numbers, but now refer to any companies. But they actually created only 500 jobs because the environment changes or technology changes. So what would be that case? And then also, who's going to audit the actual job creation? There's a lot of issues here. So that's why there was talks about during the regular session last year about the extension of the 313. But my point is, yeah, there are issues, but should we go ahead and through this important economic tool out of our toolbox? They did create a lot of jobs and benefit taxes, okay? So there were two major bills. One is filed by my colleague, Chairman Jim Murphy, who is chairing the Higher Ed Committee, but he was working with me extensively in the economic development arena for many years. But his bill has a significant changes, which means like the not only attract the new investment, but also to expand the business investments like that. But that was during the last day of the regular session, the Sunday night, he pulled the bill out because he found out that he's not getting the support. So instead of getting, getting knocked down, which will be very, very embarrassing for a powerful chairman, okay? So he just pulled the bill. And then another bill related to 313, which just simply says, hey, listen, because we were so busy with the power issues and pandemic issues, and let's hold that thought. Let's just extend this bill for a couple years so we have more time during the next session to really work on this 313 and see which would be the best solution. That was filed by Chairman of Ways and Means. That's my dear colleague from Highland Park, University Park area, Morgan Mile, and that one got passed. So just everything is the same, just extend for 2 years so we have more time to do a thorough study. But although the House passed that, the Senate did not. So I tell you the truth, I'm disappointed, but that's the result. So by the end of the year, that 313 done. That's why it is very, 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 very important for my committee to start the use of the local tax abatements, including the remaining agreements made under the Chapter 313, and make recommendation to promote transparency and also enhance the effectiveness of the tax abatements, capital investment incentive. And so when we start our next sessions, we will be much, much more prepared, okay? And other, let me just briefly kind of quickly run through other interim charges for the economic development is study the feasibility of creating a central source of information and the application process for the state's economic incentive programs. I say that many times, but it was very, very difficult to get the the things moving. Right now, because so many programs and with the different application forms, if a company is considered moving into Texas, they have to go through this pile of paper to file for incentives, which is not efficient at all. And also specifically, we need to figure out what's going on, the state's current effort to attract. Remember earlier I talked about the chip shortage. Oh, hi, Jeff, welcome back. You miss out the great things I talk about, your effort. I appreciate you so much. Okay, so let's talk about how we're going to specifically address the semiconductor investment, not only for the business reason and also for the national security reason in our area, okay? And which, and also identify the incentives within the Texas Workforce Commission to extend the job training, job creation. And I had a wonderful bill passed to help out with unemployment tax during the pandemic, because due to the pandemic situation. And so I'm gonna skip that, but we need to evaluate the impact and see what else we can do. And then I'm just gonna skip the several pages, and but overall, to make it short and sweet, is to evaluate all the current systems and see if it's still meet a dynamic environment, and how we can do better, because a lot of good tools Texas has been using has been copycat by other states. You all know that, that's why some of the new investments, we thought we had a chance to grab it, but it has gone to, I guess Intel just had another deal in Ohio. Is that right? Yeah, kind of disappointed. And then TSMC, Taiwan's #1 semiconductor, you all know that deal went to Arizona. So, but we need to kind of, okay. And also, one thing I'm very proud of is that the pandemic situation make all us realize that the child care is a very, very important issue. It's not only a family issue, but also a workforce issue and also economic development issue, because a lot of wonderful parents, mother or father, single parent or whatever, one of the reasons they decided not to go back to work because they cannot find a reputable, dependable childcare. So I have designated one session during the regular term to work on this issue. We have made a major improvement, but still a long way to go. I think I'm gonna stop here with Jeff coming back. He can also talk about what he thinks we can do more in terms of his area. So, and Mark, unless you have any questions for me, I think we need to give a spotlight back to my wonderful colleague, Chairman Leach.
Yeah, Jeff, what we were talking about was just the interim charges that your committee is looking at, or others that you think are particularly of interest to the business community and to our community in general.
Well, Mark, I'm going to let me give you a brief update on what my committee is working on. I don't want to duplicate anything my colleagues said that when I stepped away. So let me be very laser focused on what the Judiciary Committee is working on. A couple things that I think will be of great interest to the folks on this call, and then I'm happy to take specific questions along with Angie. So I'm serving my second term as chairman of the Judiciary Committee. We have jurisdiction over all of the civil and criminal courts, basically all the courts in the state of Texas, as well as the Attorney General's office, the Supreme Court, Court of Criminal Appeals, the State Bar of Texas, basically anything to do with the practice of law, the rules of civil procedure, the rules of evidence, family courts. Our committee is charged with focusing on, and we've been laser focused over the past 2 sessions, specifically this past session, on making sure that our courts are open and accessible, reliable, fair. With a growing state, we've got an obligation to create new courts, to make sure that we're putting new courts and establishing new courts in the right areas of the state that are subject to tremendous growth. And right now, we've got about the latest numbers are about a 12 to 13,000 case backlog over the state of Texas. That is actually probably a very low number. We predict that just because of COVID and the fact that many of our courts were closed down, many of our judges were not holding hearings or jury trials, that case backlog is probably in the 20 to 25,000 range across the state. And these are not just business disputes. These are all disputes. So realize that when one case gets backed up, very important cases relating to, let's say, domestic violence or family violence or child abuse or CPS cases, all of these cases, civil and criminal, many of them are getting backed up in the system. And I believe that that's a miscarriage of justice. I think delayed justice is no justice at all. And so we're working very hard to get our courts caught up and to give them the resources that they need across the state. To create specialty courts, so sexual assault courts, drug courts, veterans courts, of course, our family law courts, to make sure that we're doing everything we possibly can to make sure every Texan, whether on whatever side of a lawsuit, civil or criminal they may be on, that they've got access to justice. The border issue, our challenges at the border are creating some very real strains on our court system, and not only courts there along the border, but courts across the state that are seeing some of these cases dealing with undocumented immigrants that are coming through our southern border arise. Of course, our courts have to hear these cases. Our judges need to hear these cases, but it's just creating additional strain and pressure with the amount of cases that our judges and our courts are being asked to handle. So we are laser focused on trying to address that issue, to fix that issue, and we're working with our Supreme Court and with our counterparts in the Senate and judges and practitioners all across the state to do so. We did a number of things this session to address COVID liability protections for business owners. We passed important legislation relating to cracking down on commercial vehicle lawsuit abuse. Mark, something I know you're in the insurance industry very familiar with, and any folks that are on this call that may have a commercial vehicle fleet, whether it's 118 wheelers or even 2 company cars. You've seen just like average Texans and most Texas business owners have seen your commercial vehicle insurance rates skyrocket in recent years. That's in large part due to a litigation market that has created a breeding ground for abusive lawsuits. Of course, we want to make sure that every injured Texan has their day in court and is able to recoup the full amount of damages for an injury that's sustained on the roadways. But many companies are being forced out of business as a result of abusive and what I would say frivolous lawsuits. And we passed a real big bill this session that cracks down on that. So I'm gonna wrap up. I know I'm rambling on, but there's a number of bills. We considered over 150 bills this session out of our committee. I think we passed 70 to 80 pieces of legislation. And it's my hope that all those bills will go a long way to, like I said, opening up our courts and making sure justice is not delayed for our citizens of Texas. And that includes our citizens here in Richardson and in Collin County. So, Mark, I hope that answered your question, but I'm happy to take additional questions.
I appreciate those comments. And Angie, I appreciate your comments early on. And so I appreciate both of y'all. I see that we do have some questions, but I'd like to see we have the new city manager designee on with us, Don Magner. Don, do you have any particular questions or comments concerning our legislative agenda from the city of Richardson for the upcoming session?
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mark. I'm experiencing a little bit of technical difficulty here, so I'm going to keep the video off to ensure that I can have good audio. Just first, thank everyone for being here today. I really appreciate the forum, and it's always good to hear the updates, even off session year. We continue to work with our partners. It's both educational, medical, institutional, business, especially on tracking their needs. We'll begin. It's hard to believe, but in just a few months, as we over the summer putting our legislative agenda together for the next session. And so I'll just encourage everyone on the call and others to as we go through our transition here at the city, and obviously we have ISD transitions and even a business community transition at the chamber. We really want to have an ongoing engagement to better understand and appreciate how we can advocate at the legislative level to help the entire community be more successful. So, Mark, I appreciate the chance to say a couple of words, and I look forward to hearing the questions and the responses as we go forward.
Good. I also see on the call that we have the Honorable Nancy Humphrey for the RIS from PISD. And so Nancy, I know you're really involved in the school issues. So do you have any particular questions or comments?
Oh, well, that's really sweet of you, Mark. Thank you. I'm so glad to be on this call and always enjoy talking to our legislators. I think the issues that we're really focusing on right now relate to recapture. And I know some of you are in the Plano ISD jurisdiction and some are in Richardson ISD, but Plano is like the second largest contributor to recapture. And we've noted that in the last few years, it's just continued to grow. And I would just have a voice for seeing if we could do something to maybe cap the recapture so that we're not hit so hard. And there are 10 districts in the state that contribute 60% of the recapture. And we're like number 1 or 2, or number 2 or 3. I can't remember where we are year to year, but I think that's a big one for us. But I won't go on any more about it. But Ms. Button or Mr. Leach, if you have any comments about that, I'm very happy to hear.
Actually, I have a Richardson RISD, but I don't have any PISD. But I understand your concerns. My colleague, chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, Morgan Meyer, he's the University Highland Park area, and he talked about that issue a lot. And we definitely understand that people feel like, hey, you know, they're putting so much and they're not getting their a share back. But I don't know if Jeff, you have any insights about that, because that your district is exclusively in the PISD, is that right?
Yeah, so Angie, I'm blessed to represent PISD and Allen ISD.
Okay, that's right.
And so there's no question that for a long time Plano has been top 5. I think it's right. Plano's now number 2. I think Austin ISD may be number 1 in terms of amount of recapture payments to the state. That's taxpayer dollars that are coming from our community that are going to the state that are not getting back to our community. They're going to other parts of the state. And Nancy, it's good to see you, by the way. Nancy's doing an incredible job along with the other board members in Plano. And this is a unique and it's an ongoing, very complex challenge that school finance. We've done a number of really good, substantial, I would say historic landmark things in recent sessions, namely House Bill 3 in 2019, which Angie and I helped write and advocate for that bill. But with those victories behind us, there's no question that every session we've got to come back and look at school finance and make sure that we're adequately fully funding schools, that we're doing it in a fair and equitable way across the state, that every child in the state has access to a good quality, safe education, that our teachers feel supported. And recapture is an ongoing challenge. If I could do away with it today, I would. I am open to all solutions, to any and all solutions when it comes to being a faithful steward of taxpayer dollars, and any way that we can level the playing field, I'm all for. What's really been interesting to me, and Angie, you know this as well, the news likes to talk about, and you hear a lot about the divides between Republicans and Democrats, red and blue, and it's something we're all familiar with. But what's really what's very real and substantial in the Texas legislature is the divide between rural and urban, and then suburban. There just are very different ideas and challenges that face our rural districts as opposed to Plano ISD, and funding is at the top of that list. So Nancy, we hear you. And we're going to continue to partner with you to try to figure this out once and for all, like we do every session. So I look forward to talking to you about it.
Well, I sure appreciate that, Jeff. And I know that we're kind of an anomaly because we're a maturing community and it's harder for young families to afford housing here. And so our enrollment goes down and we're just caught in the middle of that. I think awareness about it is one of those things that I would like to make sure everybody understands. So I appreciate you taking time to talk about that.
Thank you, Nancy.
Oh, thank you, Nancy.
Randy?
Yeah, Nancy, while we still have you, you also mentioned in the chat that Plato ISD has worked with the Section 313 and to your benefit, I would assume, with Texas Instruments. And I don't know if you had any further comments you want to make about that.
Well, no, but I would say they shouldn't let that tool in the toolbox expire because it is something that is a relevant tool if it works for the parties that are involved. I think that, when you drive by Texas Instruments over there on the George Bush, you'll see that they're building a 300 millimeter wafer plant. And I think we all know that we need chips in the world because I think the auto industry is really hurting right now because there aren't available chips. So I'm so thankful to be a part of that in creating that 313 agreement that made it so that Texas Instruments chose to build here and not in, I want to say, another country or Rochester, New York. They had 3 locations. So it was that tool in the toolbox that made it work for them. And it's a beneficial relationship with the school district as well. So I agree with what Ms. Button was saying earlier about not letting it just totally expire. It can be good if it's used properly.
Thank you, Nancy. I think John Hurst might have some comments concerning that because his industry is highly impacted by that. John, are you still there? Yeah, I see you there.
Here, yes, it can't happen fast enough. We make heating and air conditioning equipment. I'm with Lennox International, and in any given year, we typically have maybe 1 or 2 events. Could be a tornado that ripped the roof off of a factory in Marshalltown, Iowa, a couple of years ago. But this has felt more like a plague of locusts. Instead of 1 or 2 issues a year, we're dealing with 5 to 10 a week. It's amazing what our team's been able to do, but we certainly appreciate the things that are happening to get the microprocessor situation fixed. And you just don't realize how much you use them until you can't get them. It's been amazing. And we do things that heat and cool pharmaceuticals, food supply, your home. It's difficult to live without. It's difficult to heat or cool a home without a microprocessor. So kudos to everything that you're doing. It's unfortunately not going to happen quick enough, but we're trying to keep the wheels on right
now. Let me add some comments for my wonderful colleague. Jeff, earlier, when I talk about interim charges, I did emphasize that 313, you remember the last day the Sonny died, Chairman Jim Murphy's bill, he pulled it off because he knew that there was no support. And then Chairman Morgan Meyer put his bill past the House, which is just 2 years extension. That's the House, but the Senate just not interested. You remember that? It was a major disappointment. So what we try to do is during the interim charge, I guess I'm guessing the speaker is going to wait until the primary is over. Did you hear anything about that? Because we're anxious to get the interim charge started, but we also understand if our colleagues have to go there fighting for, like your case, you have a primary, and fighting for this, how can you have the focus and concentrate on, the interim charges? So what did you hear about when we're going to really do the interim charge, to start the interim charge?
Yeah, well, I don't want to speak on behalf of the speaker, but I do think that we will be getting interim charges fairly soon, rapidly, right after the primary. Because you're right, Angie, we gotta get to work. If we wait until next January or February, it's too late to get started on these issues. So I do expect those to be out within the next probably few weeks, maybe 3 to 4 weeks. And at 313, if 313 agreements is not at or near the top of the list in terms of Ways and Means interim charges, I will be very surprised. I think it was a surprise to a lot of folks that we weren't able to get those done in the regular session or the special sessions, but I do believe that it's going to be a major discussion in the interim and headed into next session, as well it should be.
Right. Actually, I'm thinking about have a joint meeting with the Ways and Means because since it's the tax issue, so both committees can work on that issue. So comments from Nancy, that's extremely important. Hopefully we'll invite great folks from the school boards like Miss Nancy come to help us to communicate to the members and later on communicate to help us to promote that instead of just, I think the last time we just haven't those urgent issues dominate the entire regular session, so one able to do much. And yeah, definitely this is very important. So Nancy, thank you for sharing your thoughts and offering your support. I do appreciate that very much.
You're welcome. And I'm happy to come talk to you anytime.
Thank
Randy,
you.
Randy, do you want to, I know we've got only about 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks everybody for your comments, Nancy and John. And I know here often, both in DC and Austin, that in order for representatives to do their job well, they need to hear from us as
Absolutely.
As business leaders, as community leaders. And so that's why public policies is so important for City of Richardson. And obviously with a lot of important people on the call today, it's important to a lot of us. So thank you. I want to also recognize Patricia Newman with Representative Ramos' office has been on the call, and thank you for joining. We hope to get her on a future call. And also new incoming city manager Don Magner. The countdown is on. We're in the final days of Dan's time, and so thanks. And I'll use that.
Randy, if I could, I would just like to extend an invitation to everyone next Thursday, February 24th, at the Eisman Center for Performing Arts from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. We'll be sending Dan off. It's going to be a really a great presentation, a lot of really neat speakers. So please come and join us if you can.
Great, thanks. And also use that as a segue that our next public policy meeting will be on March 14th. And Don will be joining us to give us an update on the city. And a lot of neat things going on there. Look forward to March 14th, listening to at that date will be the city manager of Richardson. So look forward to everybody joining us there. Also want to recognize Manasseh Durkin is on the call today. He's our chairman of the Richardson Chamber of Commerce for 2022. So thanks for joining us, Manasseh. And with that, we will be adjourned. Mark, thanks for your help on this.
About our May meeting that we're still working on at this time.
Yeah, we're still working on May, possibly going to Washington, D.C. Correct. So, Chairwoman Boppin, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for your insight and your information.